since your girl's recording, we can go ahead and jump into this conversation. I don't think it is we've ever really had a talk about with Aaliyah. Since it is we were talking about with like Dan Snyder and everything like that. We have not really had the chance to talk about with Miss Aaliyah, the late R&B singer Aaliyah, that with the tragedy to what happened to her. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and have this conversation. So let's get into the next reaction, y'all. Let's do it. W transparent hair. Ooh, that's a
Aayliah Dana Houghton, mostly recognized as Aayliah, was a 22-year-old singer and actress born in Brooklyn, New York. She moved to Detroit with her family at the age of 5 and grew up singing with her mother. At the mere age of 11, she opened up for her aunt Gladys Knight in Las Vegas and was set to reach crazy heights in her music career.
Voice, that's a a powerful voice for 10 years old. Come on, Aaliyah.
Aayliah studied dance at the Detroit High School for the Fine and Performing Arts and managed to get a 4.0 GPA. She was a young, classy, intelligent, and talented woman with the voice of an angel who managed to quickly capture the attention of the music industry with her impressive musical ability. From selling millions of copies worldwide to modeling for brands like Tommy Hilfiger.
My father has beautiful chestnut eyes. I got my voice from my mother.
To having a starring role in some major movies.
How could I have missed it? I think I'm hopelessly in love with you.
Aayliah was destined to become a superstar. Her life, however, came to an end on August 25th, 2001, when Aayliah and 8 people, 7 of them being her crew members, plus the pilot, all died in a horrific plane crash.
This is the last video that she was able to record, bro.
It all began on August 22nd, 2001, when Aayliah was in Miami to shoot some scenes for her upcoming single, Rock the Boat. The video shoot went as expected, and Aayliah and her crew members were elated to continue putting together this project. The entire team was scheduled the next day to fly to Abaco Islands in the Bahamas to continue the shoot. Everything went well
I will say this, between Aaliyah's death and I think for me is Left Eye from TLC was a death that hit so hard in like the early 2000s, because like damn, I remember like 106 in Part when they announced it on the TV show, it hit home. But I know one of the biggest things for my mom that impacted her as a public figure, it is that you will, or a celebrity public figure, was Princess Diana. When she passed, I mean, my mom was a Princess Diana wholehearted. Like, she loved that woman. She got a Princess Diana. She got a couple Princess Diana dolls, a calendar. The same year it is that my parents got married. Like a whole bunch of cards and everything like that. And then if you guys don't know, like within most of the West Indian cultures, especially within Barbados, we was taken over by Britain's control for a long period of time until it is we got our independence. But we still look up to a lot of things from the UK, still to this day and everything like that, and especially now, all that stuff. So, reading back to this Aaliyah's death was just such a. It just seemed like there was foul play to me, because the airplane that they was in, I've been in airplanes like this. My dad's a pilot, right? I've been in all different types of airplanes and stuff. Now with this in particular, there should be a level of a weight requirement. The plane was too damn heavy with all of the luggage and everything like that. It really was a little bit too heavy for this. Then we're finding out is that the pilot was inebriated. Then a conspiracy about it is just like Aaliyah got I can't say this wording, but they gave her something to sedate her, basically. So she wasn't even in her right state. So there's certain things was like, it sucks that to what happened to her. It really does.
As Aayliah and her crew arrived to the Bahamas on Thursday, August 23rd, 2001, Aayliah and her team arrived at the beach ready to get to work by 6:30 a.m. on August 24, and they managed to quickly get a lot of work done in the beautiful Bahamas. The video shoot, in other words, went as planned. The flight Aayliah was supposed to take was initially scheduled for August 26. However, since Aayliah ended up finishing shooting all the scenes for her part of the video, her and the entourage were eager to return to the United States, and they then decided to leave early. The Rock the Boat music video was the last project Aayliah would ever work on.
Let's go again.
Yeah.
Camera comes up. We push it in a bit.
Play with it. Maybe we'll do it. If we don't do it with this one, we can do it with some else. We'll do it with the white one. About 3 inches. Wait, watch your head. Watch your
head.
You said it's unfortunate that her mindset was in the age ain't nothing but a number, which is stupid philosophy. I will say it is that's not her philosophy. I feel like it is that was depicted. Since it is that R. Kelly was the one, it is that I believe that's discovered her, but definitely worked within the first album for her. That is all R. Kelly influence to like the naming, all the other stuff, and plus R. Kelly ain't had no damn business doing the things that is like that he was doing. Another person that is like ain't had no damn business whatsoever that should have got locked up from this situation within itself. Like the man was like what 27, like that. I think the nigga was damn near close to 30. Hi, Stinky. Hi, mamas. Hi. Hello, mamas. Hey. So I think it is that he was damn near 30. So to do all this and you're with a 15-year-old allegedly impregnating her, allegedly. I have to put the alleged on this, because I ain't trying to get sued. And then also with a marriage at that's weird. That's very weird behavior. That's weird behavior on everybody's part because it is that they bared witness to this. And this is why I say, my dad say this all the time, and I wholeheartedly believe this. You being in the middle of a situation is just as bad as you doing it. Because that means it is that you bared witness to this. You are as aware of what was going on within your surroundings, and nobody mediated. Nobody sat there and was just like, hey, listen, we should really sit there and kind of just be like, yo, this is wrong and stuff like that. Everybody else was just like, all right, cool, this ain't my business. This is why I'm like, yeah, Simba was telling that he was pushing 30 and she was 17. Now, I think she was younger than 17 because they had to lie about her age. So she appears older, which is why when she had to be like 15, because when she died and it said she was 22, I'm like, no way. I'm like, she was only 22? I thought she was a lot older. So that's why I'm like, oh, so they definitely lied about her age coming into this so she appears older and get an older aesthetic. That's crazy. I want to fight her parents because what the fuck? I want to say I'm conflicted. I'm conflicted because I cannot pinpoint if it was her parents' fault for allowing as much it is that they did just for her to get to the level of fame, or they just wholeheartedly didn't know what was really going on behind the scenes, because at this rate, it's just like, I think R. Kelly had to been like, because she come from a musical background. I want to say it is that R. Kelly and like the family at least they knew of each other, exchange stuff like that. Like they knew it is like how well into the music industry it is that he is, but I don't think it is they was aware of his weird infatuation with kids. So don't be conflicted. No parent should allow their child around strangers ever. But I agree wholeheartedly. I agree with you. Her parents did allow it, so that's why I'm like, you kind of allowed it, but now for me, I need to know if it is that they really know. Because if you really did know, then you're at fault. You're wholeheartedly at fault for this girl's demise. That needs to be discussed. So, and another thing that kind of bothered me about this, when she had passed, they took all of Aaliyah's publishing, her music, and for decades it was not released until as within recent years. I had to listen to Aaliyah's music illegally, and I'm just like, can we release it, please? Can we release the songs, something, like, please, something. You know what I mean? So a lot of the stuff behind, like, no, it took decades. I'm gonna say decades at this point. It took a very long time for the family to release the music or to allow the music to be released. So there's a lot of things that is I have to question here. I have to question the family. I have to question the people it is that was around both parties, how this even became a thing and how this happened in the first place and whatnot. But I'm not gonna lie with you guys. R. Kelly has been helping out with people within the industry for a long period of time before this. He finally ended up getting the fuck up out of here. You know what I mean? And there's so the list of like people it is he's written for, helped, like, sung with, wrote songs for, and stuff like that. That list is very heavy, and that makes it kind of weird. It is that, like, when all this stuff is going on, and it's just like, well, damn, if this happened with Aaliyah back in the '90s, that means it is that we just, as the community, as the consumers, and stuff like that, we just allowed this nigga to go ahead and just keep doing this underneath our nose while playing "Step in the Name of Love" and shit like that. Like, that's weird to me. I heard somewhere that she originally didn't want to get on the plane, and that's when she was sedated. Yeah, I heard that too, Reaper. I heard that too.
I got you.
The aircraft Aayliah was boarding was a Cessna 402B, a six.
Now, Cessnas, these small planes are usually what is used for training people that aspires to be pilots. And the way how it is that I know is because I've been in a lot of these growing up with my dad. And me and my dad used to fly around in these planes all the time. All the time. I damn near almost got my damn pilot license because of, because I already had the hours. But this is way too small for an entourage. They could at least have like a little, like, a private jet. You know what I'm saying? Get a private jet. This is way too small for Aaliyah team, everybody in here. Like, that's way too small.
6 to 10 seat, light twin piston engine aircraft, which has easily removable seats and can be used as an all-cargo carrier. The Cessna 402B is intended to be both very inexpensive and easy to operate. The aircraft had a maximum authorized takeoff weight of 6,300 pounds or 2,857 kilograms. This is important because it was the root cause of this plane crash.
Wait, let me see this. That's actually how he got Aaliyah. He portrayed himself as a friend to her family and had people in the industry vouch for him in his textbook. Yeah, it is.
It was on Saturday, August 25th, 2001, when the tragedy happened. The small Cessna aircraft that was carrying Aayliah and the 8 other people took off from the Marsh Harbor Airport at 6:50 p.m. to head back to Opa-locka, Florida. The plane, however, didn't make it that far as things took an ugly turn for the worse within a minute of the plane taking off. It only took roughly 200 feet or 60 meters from the end of the runway before the plane went down. Aayliah, including 7 other people, all died in an instant as the plane went down. One person survived, and he was taken to Florida for treatment, but eventually succumbed to his injuries later on. It was revealed that Aayliah died of severe burns and a blow to the head, and that she went into such a state of shock that even if she had survived the crash, a recovery would have been near impossible.
The plane crash that killed a rising star in the world of music and film. Reaction today after Aayliah and 8 others were killed when their plane went down. Good evening, I'm Lauren Glassbergen for Sandra Bookman.
And I'm Tim Fleischer.
Oh yeah, this is
the plane,
ABC
just after
Eyewitness
taking off
News.
For Florida, in perfect weather, suddenly plummeted to the ground. Investigators now saying one of the engines apparently failed. Along with 8 passengers, Aayliah, a young Brooklyn native and a talented singer.
Yeah, it was very unfair.
She's a beautiful person inside and out, and we're gonna all miss her deeply.
She will greatly be missed. You know, she had a great impact on many lives, and it was a great experience to share that time.
Dang, this sucks. And this honestly, man, this
horrible crash that killed Aayliah.
It sucks because for an airplane to my knowledge, to only go 200 feet, nobody took the proper steps to making sure it is that that aircraft was really ready to go beforehand. So I'm going to say it is not only is the pilot's fault, but I'm also going to say it is the airport's fault as well, because there are things it is that needs to be checked before it is that aircraft even leaves the gates with all these different people. You know what I mean? Like this is why I say it, like it's unfair and it's a lot of like foul play that I think is going on with this, because those are certain things it is that's standard airport procedure, is checking to make sure it is the airplane got everything it is that it needs and everything like that. Like boom, like for it to pummel down that fast after takeoff means there was a problem already there. So that's I'm like, yeah, like the pilots are supposed to check the plane, the weight, everything and whatnot. And if you are at well over capacity, and then if you have any other, like the news said it is like the engine failed, now those are bigger issues.
Aayliah and the 8 other passengers instantly made national news, Aayliah of course being in the focal point of this tragedy. This plane crash was investigated by the Civil Aviation Department, and the findings were quite shocking. Some of the more shocking findings were regarding the pilot who was operating this aircraft. Captain Luis Antonio Morales III was born in Santurce, Puerto Rico, and he was 30 years old. Luis, who had a keen interest in aircrafts, starting from a very young age, received flight training at the age of 17 when he was attending school for it. He eventually received his pilot license in February 2000. Now, apart from his interest in flying,
there was one time I was taking a flight and then there was a storm, but the pilot was so adamant on not going because they only had fuel for the initial flight and they didn't want to risk it because we had to fly around it, which would have taken longer. No, like honestly, like being around pilots and being in aircrafts and stuff like that, I understand why, because I know a lot of people usually just like, they don't like their flights being delayed, they don't like their flights being canceled, kind of like what happened to me last month. I understand that as a person that's trying to like, well, I'm trying to get to this place, or I'm trying to go back home, or I'm trying to do this, and this. But you gotta realize it is, in order to fly a whole bunch of people, that is a level of like, you got to make that call to be like, hey, listen, there's a little bit of weather it is that we're gonna have to fly through and everything like that, and I don't want to risk that on nobody else's part, including my own. Those are discrepancies it is that has to be taken seriously. So if there's something that's going on that may be detrimental to oneself and everybody else around them, like, yeah, I wholeheartedly understand why it is a pilot be like, yeah, nah, we're not trying to do this, And same thing with helicopters too. It's easier. It's from what I've seen, helicopters lose control faster than an aircraft. However, aircrafts are much safer than being in cars. Ironically enough, and I know a lot of people usually are scared when it is that they are in airplanes because they think the worst things, and I understand that. It's true. I get that, but the likeliness of a crash is usually pretty low, especially now. They still do happen, but that means there had to be some things going on with the aircraft that went unnoticed if somebody didn't check it beforehand. People are being scared of airplanes because of Final Destination. I can understand that. Like, to see stuff like that. And plus turbulence is another thing that makes people a little finicky. And I can understand that. But for all intents and purposes, turbulence is when it is that you're going through like clouds. And anything it is that like you're flying through is gonna cause the plane to do this a little bit. It's a little bit of turbulence. Now, I've experienced some terrible turbulence before, and one of them had to be on Spirit fucking Airlines. But turbulence is something it is like, at least the pilot will let the people know, like, hey, listen, fasten in your seatbelt. Like, I don't want anybody getting out. If they don't have to, just for safety precautions, all the other stuff. They like the people who work within that, like the pilot, the flight attendants, they take that very seriously. They want to make sure it is that everybody stays safe. So he said Boeing shares a lot of blame for flight delays because of their shady actions behind the scenes as well. Yeah. That turbulence starts, and I was I just closed my eyes for real, and what I'm gonna do, right? It's also the fact of helplessness. If the airplane goes down, there's nothing you can do to save yourself. At least with a car, you have some control. Yes, yes. Blame American Airlines for constant delays. No, they just don't have enough workers. As somebody it is that I understand your frustration. I really do. American Airlines just don't have enough workers. And which is why, to be honest with you, being a flight attendant, you make a lot of damn money. Y- air traffic control, um, flight attendants, pilots, they make relatively decent money. And at bigger airports, it's even more of a problem when it comes down to having people this, especially since with COVID, a lot of people ended up either getting laid off or they're just like, fuck it. So that's why that contributes to a lot of the flight delays. But let's get back into the
flying
video.
planes, he also took a liking to some other things, like doing drugs. Merely 12 days before the crash, Lewis was in court where he was sentenced to 3 years probation for charges of crack cocaine possession. This sentencing
Oh.
stemmed from a traffic stop in Broward County, Florida. The police apparently found crack cocaine residue on the front seat of his car during a search. After
I didn't know that. I knew it is that he was an alcoholic, but I didn't know that.
he ran a stop sign in Pompano Beach, Lewis ended up pleading no contest to the possession charge. Now, after an autopsy was performed on his body, they found traces of crack cocaine in his urine and traces of alcohol in his stomach.
I knew about the alcohol part, but damn.
So this pilot was flying this aircraft, which carried 8 passengers, while he was under the influence, which is obviously no bueno. It was also revealed that Luis Morales got sentenced for a charge of trying to sell $350 worth of stolen airplane parts the year before. On top of that,
Damn.
Lewis was actually not even authorized to fly the plane in the first place. The 2 companies that owned and operated the plane didn't even have a permit to operate in the Bahamas. So this plane wasn't even allowed to be in the air.
So the airport should have got sued. They should have got sued. They should have got sued for that. If that's the case, how did that even be a thing? How are you running an airport to where it is that you don't have a permit for it? That literally means it is everybody can easily go into federal jail for that. Or federal prison, let me put it that way. Like, you can't do that. I mean, listen, I've had the flights to where it is the pilot said, hey, listen, we gotta delay this because I did not get enough sleep. I would rather a pilot be honest with me and tell me it is, hey, listen, he needs a little bit of rest. And then once it is that he gets the rest, if we can able to get back to moving, you know what I'm saying? Because it's very easy, and especially for somebody like myself being in front like this, it's very easy to fall asleep. You know what I'm saying? A long flight and everything like that. You can put that shit on like autopilot and you can sleep a little bit, you know what I mean? Which is why you gotta take this very seriously. That's why it is you cannot play around when it comes down to stuff like this, when it comes down to airplanes. It's very serious.
Some other things about the company that owned aircraft. Between 1997 and 2000, they had been cited by the Federal Aviation Administration 4 different times for various violations, which included failing to follow drug testing rules for employees in 1999. That obviously explains why Lewis was flying a plane with crack cocaine in his system, and for failing to perform proper aircraft maintenance the previous year. And that brings us to the main reason why this flight carrying Aayliah went down. The short answer: aircraft overweight. It was a twin-engine plane that carried 9 people in total. It was, however, only supposed to carry 6 to 8 people, including the pilot. Now, more specifically, the maximum authorized takeoff weight for the Cessna 402B was 6,300 pounds. The plane alone accounted for about 4,117 pounds. That would allow for an additional 2,183 pounds to include bags, fuel, and passengers. The small twin-engine aircraft was, however, carrying about 574 pounds of baggage and an estimated 804 pounds of fuel. That would allow for slightly more than 800 pounds for the combined weight of the...
Oh no, yeah, that's way too much. I've never seen, at all my years, I've never seen people put crazy luggage in a Cessna. That's not something I've seen a briefcase. I've seen maybe a bag, like a small bag, but I've never seen crazy luggage like that. Because the Cessna's, it's already small as it is. Like, you can't put in that much weight. And fuel takes up quite a bit within aircrafts. So now this explains why you got the weight of everybody else, you got the luggage, you got the fuel, and then this airplane, this aircraft by itself already is over 4,000 pounds within itself. This is well over 2,000. This is well, god damn.
The 9 adults. In total, the aircraft exceeded the
That makes
maximum allowable
sense.
weight of 6,300 pounds by approximately 941 pounds. Another main cause of the crash,
Right, like
improper weight
I don't
distribution.
I don't understand. Like, get a fucking like, get a jet, gang. Just get a private jet. Like, you know, just like you don't have to do like a crazy big jet neither. Just get a small like private jet, because the jet can able to like can handle more weight. Why would you put this on this little ass Cessna? This is the aircraft where it is that like you trainees practice on. That's way too much fucking weight.
2 of the largest passengers, who weighed approximately 300 pounds each, were improperly seated, which had a negative effect on the weight distribution, and that was also a factor as to why the plane crashed. On top of all the other things I told you about Luis Morales, the pilot also unfortunately falsified many of the aircraft hours received on a plane. It's also suspected that no weight and balance or performance calculations were made prior to this particular flight, as none of these completed documents were found. So it was absolutely not a coincidence why this plane went down. The thing was overloaded by almost 1,000 pounds. There was also reports that haven't been 100% confirmed that state that Aayliah actually didn't want to get on a plane itself. This was allegedly after she had seen how small it was. She later after this complained about having a headache to her team, which prompted her to go to sleep in a car she was driven in to the airport. Aayliah was then allegedly woken up and given a sleeping pill and was carried onto the plane while she was still sleeping. This part of the story hasn't been 100% confirmed. It was however told by someone who was working at the airport at the time. Aayliah, ever since her death, has been hailed as an R&B legend who passed away far too soon. It's crazy to think that this woman passed away at the age of 22. She had her entire life in front of her to elevate within her career, but it was unfortunately taken away due to the mistakes of a pilot who should have known better. Luis Morales was the common denominator here. As someone who was flying planes professionally, he's the person who should have not flown this severely overloaded aircraft and not been under.
It's not you. I'm not putting just blame onto the pilot. It's the airport too, because how did the airport? In order for you to go ahead and even take off, there has to be air traffic control. There has to be people involved within staff itself. Y'all failed altogether to allowing this to happen. I would look at this little ass airplane too. Like, if it was me and like, let's say everybody else within the group, like me, Simba, Mikey, Aaron, CJ, Philly, True, Majin, all of us, like Coach, Trickster, Babs, all of us, we're saying, all right, we're gonna fly out somewhere. We're gonna fly out to the Bahamas. This, and this. And I swear for God, if I turn around and I see this little ass Cessna, and y'all talk about something, oh yeah, we gonna fly it. Who the fuck going in this airplane? Because it ain't gonna be me. I'm not allowing that. I'm not allowing me, all my niggas to get in that. It's just like, hey, listen, gang, y'all better get another bigger get a jet, get a bigger airplane or something, because I'm not getting in this shit, bro. Just us by itself. And then on top of that too, with like our own bags and everything like that. Fuck no.
Under the influence while he was at it. It's truly sad that Aaliyah's life was taken away so soon when it could have all been avoided. Anyway, the tragic death of Aayliah. Any thoughts on the story? If you enjoyed the video, definitely consider giving it a like, and don't forget to subscribe if you're new. I'm curious what you think about this tragic story involving the passing of a young music star who had so much more life left to live. You'll let me know in the comment section below, and I'll catch you on the next video. Peace. I'm out.
You said, why were people so mad when Chris Brown and Drake used some of her songs in their songs a few years ago? Because her family and her estate didn't release her songs out yet. There's been a whole battle about that for decades to releasing the music. You kind of missed that part of the segment in the beginning of the video. But yeah, the family was not releasing the song for ever since it is that she had passed. We're talking about, oh, this is 2001. As within recent years, that song, her songs finally got released to the public. Right? So when Chris Brown and Drake made their songs, it was when it is her own publishing rights wasn't even out yet. So that's why a lot of people was just like, hey, how did they even get the clearancing for this? You know what I mean? Like, did they talk with their family or anything like that? Yeah, all right. It's the same thing with Michael Jackson, but I will say with Michael Jackson, that is Sony. That's Sony for going ahead and just doing some shit that is they had no business doing. Michael Jackson knew it is that catalog was deep, was knee deep. That thing was worth billions, billions, and billions of dollars. And the moment it is that he passed, they filtered into that. And then it was like, I bet we're gonna make a couple albums off of like his unreleased music or some of his unreleased music. We're also gonna take a little bit out of that too. So a little bit of foul play as well. You know? But Michael Jackson is on Drake's song. Yeah, I know, but you gotta ask the questions of, was that properly released or clearance and stuff like that? Because people have been making songs all the time without the clearancing. You know, now the level of releasing it, you know, that's a whole different story. But Blackie Speaks, thank you so much for the video. I appreciate you. Shout outs to you. Shout outs to y'all in the chat. And shout outs to you at home. I will catch y'all in the next video.